Welcome back to another Sicky Does MMA video. Today I will be giving out my 5 fights to make in the UFC for 2023. I'm not going to be giving out fights like Alex Pereira versus Izzy, Kamaru Usman versus, Leon Edwards. Those are obvious fights to make. I'm going to give out the fights that I think should happen and the UFC should make these fights. First fight, we have Cejudo versus Sterling. Cejudo was on an unbelievable win streak, fighting guys like Demetrius Johnson, beating him controversially, I want to add. Big DJ fan I am. Beat TJ Dillashaw when he moved down, beat Moraes and beat Dominic Cruz. So he was really stacking up an incredible resume, but he left the game too early, man, and there's not really a clear-cut number one contender at bantamweight right now. I mean, you have Sean O'Malley just beat Peter Yan. Most people think Peter Yan won. I'm sure some people watching this are like, yeah, Sean O'Malley won, which is fair enough. Sterling is the most flukiest champion in the UFC right now. I'll be honest. I mean, he's top 2. He's definitely top 2. Him and Peter Yan, in my opinion, are the best 2 bantamweights in the world, even though Peter Yan's, 1-3 in his last 4. So, yeah, I mean, I think him and Sterling are the best 2 bantamweights in the world right now. You can't give a title shot to Peter Yan. You can't really give a title shot, in my opinion, to Sean O'Malley. You can't really give a title shot to Chito Vera or Sanhagen, because they're fighting each other in February. So I think this fight makes perfect sense. You don't have a number one clear-cut number 1 contender. So Cejudo versus Sterling makes a lot of sense, in my opinion, especially when they're going back and forth on social media. And there's some hype behind that matchup for sure. Even for our Sterling fight, and he gets no hype at all because he's boring as shit and everyone hates him. Sorry. Who would I give the upper hand in that matchup? I want to say, it's hard to say, man. Cejudo's coming off a 2-year layoff at that point. Well, he'll be actually off a 3-year layoff. He fought in May, I think, I want to say, 2020. So he'll be coming off a long layoff against an in-form champion. Guys in his peak. Physical prime in Sterling. So I'd probably go with I'm gonna go with Cejudo. I think that Cejudo's wrestling ability, it's his BJJ. When I hear him talk about BJJ, it's like, I don't know, he doesn't really focus on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu that much. When you hear him talk with Demetrius Johnson, you should transition to this place instead of ground and pounding, if that makes sense. So maybe his BJJ might be suspect in that fight, but I think that Cejudo is just a master. His fight IQ is insane, and I think he'd be just too quick for Sterling, to be honest. And I like the kicks that he throws also. Sterling's very good at catching kicks though, but yeah, I'd give the upper hand to Cejudo in that matchup for sure. My next fight to make would be Colby Covington versus Khamzat Chimaev. I mean, this has to happen. A number 1 contender fight, while Usman and Leon fight. I mean, Leon versus Usman isn't going to happen until when it was March, but now Usman has a hand injury, so you can't really do Usman versus Leon until when? May time, summertime, it looks like. See, I think Khamzat Chimaev versus Colby Covington for the number 1 contender spot makes perfect sense. Colby Covington coming off a win over Jorge Masvidal, pretty impressive win, really just destroyed him, and Khamzat Chimaev just absolutely wow, destroyed Kevin Hall like it was nothing. But yeah, I think that matchup makes perfect sense for the welterweight division, rankings, everything. You can't really Gilbert Burns is fighting Neil Magny. Respect to Gilbert Burns wanting to stay active against Neil Magny. So yeah, I think this makes perfect sense for the welterweight rankings. In this matchup, I would probably give them advantage to Khamzat Chimaev just because he's just way bigger than Colby. I think he'd have the BJJ advantage, and I think that he really would just have the massive strength advantage on the feet as well. The power, he's just too big in my opinion for Colby to really do anything. If Colby survives, he could really put on the pressure and melt Khamzat Chimaev in the later rounds, but I don't see it going to the later rounds. I see Khamzat Chimaev getting a submission win, to be honest. Costa versus Robert Whittaker. This fight has to happen for the middleweight rankings. It really has to happen. I can't believe it's not happening in Perth, Australia. So disappointing. We had this matchup lined up. UFC, to be fair, Costa said he isn't going to fight him. multiple times, but the UFC announced it as official for some reason. It was such a weird thing, but yeah, this matchup has to happen. Robert Whittaker's literally beaten every single guy almost at middleweight, and in my opinion, he's the best middleweight in the world. I don't care what anyone says. Adesanya fans, come at me, bro. He beat, in my opinion, Israel Adesanya. Watched that shit like 3 times for no reason whatsoever. Alex Pereira, he's gonna lose to so many guys, isn't he? Though, like Marvin Vettori could beat Alex Pereira, or Marvin Vettori is not very good at all. And Robert Whittaker, like, dude, he's beat Jared Cannonier, Marvin Vettori, Derek Brunson, and obviously down the list, he's not going to be fighting number 10, number 11. I mean, maybe he has to at this point, really, or move to light heavyweight. I wouldn't mind that. But yeah, I think that makes perfect sense for the rankings. Number 1 contender spot, while Alex Pereira versus Izzy, fight for the 4th time. And then maybe if Izzy wins, they do a trilogy, but that's just going to hold up the division for so long, isn't it? Imagine if Israel Adesanya wins. Bro, they'll like be fighting each other for a full year, because they'll fight again probably in like December time, because it doesn't look like this matchup's going to be made very like quickly, the way Israel Adesanya is talking. He wants to take a break for a while. So yeah, I think that Robert Whittaker versus Costa just makes sense for number 1 contender spot. Hopefully they can get that done in March or April. My 4th fight to make for UFC next year is Allen versus Holloway. I think this matchup makes extremely it makes so much sense. Like, you have Holloway coming off 3 losses to the champ, so I mean, it's going to take him a while to get another title shot for sure, especially after getting dominated like he did. I think that Allen, he's on like a 10 fight win streak right now, or 11 fight win streak. I think he deserves a number 1 contender fight. I mean, why are we having Yair Rodriguez versus Emmett has the number 1 contender as the interim title fight? It makes no sense. It's not even like Emmett's a big name, or Yair. They'd probably, well, I mean, Yair is a big name. They want to actually a UFC champ, that's why. But like, why would they not just do Allen versus Yair? It's just, oh dude, Emmett has just flicked his way into this title picture so hard. He got such a lucky win, in my opinion, over Ige, and then such a lucky win over Cater. This guy's flicked his way into an interim title fight, but yeah, that's another debate, another time, whatever. So yeah, I think that makes perfect sense for him. Maybe if Allen wins, he needs 1 more fight, but if you beat Holloway, the clear second best guy in the division, you should get a title shot realistically. Like, where is Allen in the rankings? He's number 4. He's literally ahead of Emmett, and Emmett is getting the title shot, dude. Oh, Emmett is literally getting an interim title fight. Oh my god, it makes no sense. It really doesn't. And Allen is literally ahead of him. Anyway, whatever. I am just baffled at that decision. But yeah, I think that makes perfect sense for the division. Max Holloway, number 1, versus Arnold Allen, number 4. Arnold Allen's ran through the division. I mean, his last fight against Cater was a bit weird, but that's the UFC this year. I mean, the UFC this year has had like 5 main event injuries. So weird, dude. But yeah, our last fight we have John Jones versus Ngannou. Has to happen, man. Has to happen. A pound for pound GOAT, the best fighter I've ever seen. Well, the best fighter I've ever seen is Demetrius Johnson, but the best talent-wise fighter is John Jones. This guy, the greatest fighter of all time, in my opinion. That she ran through his division, ran through legends like they were nothing. I mean, what he did to... Like, people don't talk about the Gustafsson fight at all. The second time, he literally picked Gustafsson apart with the leg kicks. The shot selection this guy has, the side kick to the knee, the side kick to the body, spinning body kick, spinning back elbow, up elbow. I mean, it's just, the fluidity in striking is just unbelievable. And Francis Ngannou, we know what he's going to bring to the table. He's going to bring just power like we've never seen it ever, apart from maybe Deontay Wilder. Him versus John Jones is like, oh bro, that is such a good fight. I cannot wait until this shit happens. Hopefully it happens. I think John Jones wins though. I really do. John Jones maybe, like, people are saying, oh yeah, it hasn't looked good in his last performance. Maybe the PEDs, maybe the PEDs are like showing now, but like, are we gonna like pretend like Dominic Reyes is gonna motivate him? There's no way Dominic Reyes is gonna make him get out of his bed at 6 o'clock in the morning and run miles. Like, let's be honest, he literally has beat better guys than Dominic Reyes, like Daniel Cormier, and other guys like that. Gustafsson the first time. So like, there's no way. Like, you think Anthony Smith is gonna make John Jones motivated? And Ganu, I'm telling you, Ganu's going to make John Jones motivated, and John Jones is going to come out here and put on a masterclass, in my opinion, but that doesn't really matter. This fight just has to happen, man. Such a banger fight. Legacy, if John Jones wins at a belt at heavyweight, doesn't pop for steroids, there's no good to be it anymore. Like, I don't care if you were like the guy that was saying, he's not the good because he popped for PED. No, if he wins the heavyweight belt, doesn't pop for PEDs. I mean, he probably is doing PEDs. Like, Ngannou's probably doing PEDs. Like, I mean, everyone that is like top of their divisions more than likely taking something, but that's another debate for another time. Anyway, there you have it. There were my top 5 fights for UFC 2023. Looking forward to it. I think that Jones versus Ngannou, like I said, is the fight of the year, dude. It's the fight of the year, in my opinion. I love John Jones, I can't lie. I mean, he's a woman beater, cocaine, he loves cocaine, prostitutes, whatever. But, dude, this is such a good fight. Anyway, there you guys have it. That was Sikidos MMA's top 5 fights of 2023. I will see you in the next one. Peace.